It was here, on Fulton Street, that Daniel Jones Jr. lost his life. The year was 1926, and this part of town was filled with houses and factories instead of parking lots and empty buildings. The Jones boy was asleep in his bedroom. You'd think a 4-year-old child would be safe in his bedroom. But not here, not in this section of the North Side in the 1920s. The Jones family lived in a 2-story house at 719 Fulton Street, in the midst of a working-class neighborhood of mill hands, truck drivers, and laborers. Daniel Sr. was a foreman at a steel mill. Sounds of industry enveloped the neighborhood. 2 nearby steel mills rumbled day and night. Trains screeched along tracks near the Ohio River. So it was only natural that noise would be called upon to mark special occasions. That's why Daniel Sr. and Catherine Jones awoke their 3 children shortly before midnight on December 31st, 1925. It was New Year's Eve. Soon, the mill whistles would sound out a greeting to 1926. Daniel Sr. and Catherine wanted their kids to hear the celebration. Perhaps the Jones children, still sleepy and dressed in their pajamas, gathered near an open window. The oldest, James, was 10. Mary Catherine was 6. 4-year-old Daniel Jr. was the baby of the family. After the brief celebration, the children were tucked back into their beds in a room at the rear of the house, and what passed for nightly quiet resumed on the north side. Nearby, the McCutcheon Works steel mill rumbled as always. Even on a holiday, more than 150 men were at work, rolling out hoops and small rails. At 3:30 in the morning, a sharp snapping noise startled the workers. A belt within the machinery had broken. The steel workers knew immediately it was trouble. The belt was part of a system that kept a giant 5,000-pound flywheel from spinning out of control. Suddenly unchecked, the wheel began spinning faster and faster. Workers ran for cover and ducked behind piles of steel as the flywheel's speed increased to dangerous levels. Then, the flywheel exploded. 4 chunks of metal were hurled through the air. One destroyed a rail car. A second burrowed itself in a coal bunker. A third plopped harmlessly in the Ohio River. The largest chunk, however, was hurled upward. Weighing 2,600 pounds, it crashed through the mill roof and screeched through the night sky, arching toward the houses on Fulton Street. After traveling more than 1,000 feet, the massive piece of steel landed with a thunderous crash. Daniel Sr. and Catherine were jarred awake. Dust and debris filled their bedroom. Then, they heard the screams of their children. Daniel Sr. raced to the back of the house. He was stunned to discover the children's room was gone. His 2 older children were desperately crawling in the hallway, covered with debris. Daniel Sr. gazed into the darkness where the back of his house had once been. Where was his youngest child? Where was Daniel Jones Jr.? Alarmed and curious, Fulton Street residents rushed outside. There, they saw a father frantically searching for his child. Within minutes, firefighters were on the scene. They, too, began digging through debris, looking for Daniel Jr. And it is the firefighters who find the Jones boy in the ruins. His mangled crib was cut in half by the piece of flying metal. He was rushed to Presbyterian Hospital, and there he died 2 hours later. A coroner's report details the boy's horrific injuries. In time, the Jones house was repaired. The family remained on Fulton Street, surrounded by factories and mills and noise and neighbors. We can only wonder if a sense of normalcy returned to the Jones household. Early one morning, nearly 2 years after the tragic death of Daniel Jones Jr., workers climbed a giant gas storage tank on Reedsdale Street. At 8:45, one of the workers fired up an acetylene torch. The enormous tank immediately exploded, hurling large chunks of metal into North Side neighborhoods. One of those chunks crashed into the roof of the Jones home. Another tore away the restored room where the Jones boy once slept. The family had been doubly cursed. But later that day, members of the Jones family were calmly cleaning up the mess. For this was their home, on Fulton Street, among the factories and the shops and the noise and the danger. The only thing that could truly bring the home and the community to an end was time.